Brother man, like this, it's time to get laid. Here is the official book we found in the public domain, public access, so no copyright infringement was intentional or intended. And we bring it to you for educational purposes alone. David Deida's book, The Way of the Superior Man, a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of woman, work and sexual desire. And here is people commenting on how much they enjoyed this book. And one of them says, David's work speaks to the core of our work as men. He offers a bold view of men and challenges us to stand up and lay claim to the beauty and power of the masculine. He does not advocate superiority as in a superiority to woman. He speaks of superiority as the Greeks might. The challenge is strictly in... Oh my gosh. Take 3. Welcome. Men, males, brothers. It's time, like this egg. No. Take 4. Welcome. Fellow men, male brothers, like this. It's time to get laid. Here is the ultimate book on how to get laid. The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. A spiritual guide to mastering the challenge of woman, work and sexual desire. We found this book in the public domain, public access. No copyright infringement was intentional. We bring it to all for educational purposes alone. So let's get reading and then let's get laid. Here is some comments on how great this book is from Dennis Mead Shakali, Executive Director of the Mankind Project New Warrior Network. David's work speaks to the core of our work as men. He offers a bold view of men and challenges us to stand up and lay claim to the beauty and power of the masculine. He does not advocate superiority, as in superiority to woman. He speaks of superiority as the Greeks might. The challenge is strictly internal. The invitation is to rise above our mediocrity, to let go of making excuses for our own laziness, to stop apologizing for who we are, and to stop blaming others or our childhood for how we've become. He asks that we step into the fullness of our being, intense, focused, powerful, clear, and directly connected to our hearts. If you're not in the cave with your head up your backside, then chances are you'll be challenged by woman, work and sexual desire. Deida tells it how it is on sex and relationships, from the most realistic place this person has ever read. At last, a teacher who understands sexual polarity and a man's core desires without compromising or emasculating you with pseudo-psychotherapy, tantra or political correctness. You'll learn how to open your heart and integrate the need to sleep with every attractive woman you see, deal appropriately with a woman's emotional chaos, give your gift to the world, your lover, and finally transcend the whole lot by including it all. Deida writes in a poetic style with clarity, humour and rawness. Macho, new man are useless and inferior archetypes. Just reading this book may make you a better man, perhaps even a superior one. Vai Rana, the Watkins Review. In The Way of the Superior Man, author David Deida takes the reader on a powerful journey into the heart of the contemporary masculine experience. So let's read this book and live that experience. The Way of the Superior Man. Important caution. Please read this. Although or listen to this. So listen up. Although anyone may find the practices, disciplines and understandings in this book to be useful, it is made available with the understanding that neither the author nor the publisher are engaged in presenting specific medical, psychological, emotional, sexual or spiritual advice. Nor is anything in this book intended to be a diagnosis, prescription, recommendation or cure for any specific kind of medical, psychological, emotional, sexual or spiritual problem. Each person has a unique need or unique needs, and this book cannot take these individual differences into account. Each person should engage in a program of treatment, prevention, cure or general health only in consultation with a licensed qualified physician, therapist or other competent professional. Any person suffering from venereal disease or any other local illness of his or her sexual organs or prostate gland should consult a medical doctor and a qualified instructor of sexual yoga before practicing the sexual methods described in this book. Sounds true. Inc. Boulder, Colorado, USA. With deepest gratitude to the intimate partners and teachers who have drenched the author's life with their love and wisdom. Table of contents. Continues. May this book serve the liberation of your true gifts, so that countless multitudes of beings may benefit even more from your living and loving. Preface. His publisher, the author, asked him to write a preface to this new edition of The Way of the Superior Man. Originally, he wrote this book as a practical guide for men and their intimate lovers. He wanted to share with readers the lessons he had learned in life, specifically how a man can grow spiritually while passionately tussling with the challenges of woman, work and sexual desire. Years later, after sharing this work with thousands of men and women, straight and gay, single and coupled, he can confirm that the lessons presented in these chapters really produce results. So let's put it to the test, shall we? See if it actually delivers what he boasts or promises. And in today's world of rapid sexual and spiritual evolution, and thus confusion, these lessons may be more relevant than ever. One of the more important lessons is this. As evolving human beings, we can learn that mastery is an important phase to accomplish and pass through in the school of life, where we are learning to love more artfully. Through the way described in this book, the author has learned to love a woman into light, earn as much money as he can, or he wants doing what he loves to do, and master the arts of sexual loving. You can too. And then you will open to your next lessons, made possible by your real growth, just as you have achieved and outgrown all of your interests up until now. What you loved as a child is less interesting to you now as an adult, and what occupies your attention now will cease to sooner or later. This growth is both natural and good. We are designed to outgrow everything, including our desire to experience and improve the realms of money, sex and intimacy. The Way of the Superior Man shows you how a man and his lover can learn the lessons necessary to grow to the next step, where the mind opens as feeling and the body is only light. There is a way to grow through these lessons too, the author was told. But first things first. Live completely. Know your deepest purpose. Give the gift you were born to give. Enjoy sex as a cosmic portal into love's wonders. Serve your friends so they may grow. And through the inevitable cycles of breathtaking success and gut-wrenching despair, when you have mastered and outgrown the challenges of woman, work and sexual desire, be willing to forget you were ever born. Eventually, and the author's telling you in advance, just like he was told, the way of the superior man renders obsolete everything that can be known or experienced. For now, start with what concerns you. The author did. What his teachers and life required that he grew to understand. The path that worked for him as a man in a world of infinite possibilities is offered in the chapters of this book. You will lay down your own path as you go beyond your need to experience or know anything at all. And here's his summation for a new preface. Stop waiting. Feel everything. Love achingly. Give impeccably. Let go. Repeat with whatever remains as long as you are moved to do so. This way dissolves wide open. Introduction. This book is a guide for a specific kind of newly evolving man. This man is unabashedly masculine. He is purposeful, confident and directed, living his chosen way of life with deep integrity and humour. And he is sensitive, spontaneous and spiritually alive, with a heart committed to discovering and living his deepest truth. This kind of man is totally turned on by the feminine. He loves to take his woman sexually, to ravish her, but not in some old style macho fashion. Rather, he wants to ravish her with so much love she has vanished, they both vanish in the fullness of loving itself. He is dedicated to incarnating love on this earth through his work and his sexuality, and he does so as a free man, bound neither by outer convention or inner cowardice. This newly evolving man is not a scared bully, posturing like some King Kong in charge of the universe, nor is he a new age wimp, all spineless, smiley and starry-eyed. He has embraced both his inner masculine and feminine, and he no longer holds on to either of them. He doesn't need to be right all the time, nor does he need to be always safe, cooperative and sharing like an androgynous Mr. Nice Guy. He simply lives from his deepest core, fearlessly giving his gifts, feeling through the fleeting moments into the openness of existence, totally committed to magnifying love. To help illuminate the purpose of the way of the superior man, the author will draw on a few principles of sexuality and spiritual growth which are developed in his book Intimate Communion. So look for that one. Until fairly recently, modern roles for men and women were fixed and separated. Men were supposed to go out and earn money. Women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids. Yeah, the old saying, barefoot and pregnant. Men often manipulated their women through physical and financial dominance and threat. Women often manipulated their men through emotional and sexual strokes and stabs. The typical and extreme caricatures of this previous time are the macho jerk and the submissive housewife. If you are reading this book, you have probably outgrown this first stage of sexual identity, or at least you can smile about it. Next came, and is still coming, a stage in which men and women both sought to balance their inner masculine and feminine energies toward 50-50, becoming more like one another. For instance, in the United States in the 1960s, men began to emphasize their inner feminine. They learned to go with the flow. They let go of their rigid, one-dimensional masculine stance and embraced long hair, colourful clothes, nature, music, and a more carefree and sensual lifestyle. All means of embellishing or magnifying radiance, energy, and the abundant force of life, magnifying the feminine. Meanwhile, many women were doing just the opposite. They were magnifying their inner masculine, which, at the level of human character, appears as direction or clarity of purpose and vision. Women gained financial and political independence. They strengthened their careers, focused more on personal long-term goals, went to school in increasing numbers for advanced degrees, and learned to be more assertive in their needs and desires. Chances are, if you are reading this book, you are more balanced than your parents were. If you are a woman, you are probably more independent and assertive than your mother was. If you are a man, you are probably more emotionally expressive and open-minded than your father was, or at least such qualities seem acceptable to you, even if you don't express them yourself. Remember, not that many years ago, a man who got his hair styled or a woman who wore a business suit was often considered suspect. It was a good thing, as time progressed, for men to embrace their inner feminine and women to embrace their inner masculine. They became less fragmented and more whole in the process. They became less dependent on each other. Men could indeed change diapers, and women were completely capable of emptying the mousetraps. Macho men became more loose and feeling. Submissive housewives became more independent and directed, and they learned to take out the garbage bin. In terms of social roles, men and women became more similar. This was an improvement for everyone. But this 50-50 stage is only a second and intermediate stage of growth for men and women, not an end point. Side effects of this trend towards sexual similarity can be seen as a major cause of today's unhappiness in intimacy. The trend toward 50-50 has resulted in economic and social equality, but also in sexual neutrality. Bank accounts are balancing while passions are fizzing out. Men are less macho while sex and violence continue to increase on TV and in the movies. Women are more in control of their economic destiny while they go in increasing numbers to therapists and doctors to cope with stress-related dis-ease. Why is this happening? In the author's workshops and consultations, he hears independent and successful women complaining that many of today's men have become wimps or snowflakes, too weak and ambiguous to really trust. Sensitive and affectionate men are complaining that many of today's women have become ball-busters, too hardened and emotionally guarded to fully embrace. Is this the ultimate expression of human sexual wisdom and evolution, or is there another step to take? To answer these questions, we need to understand the nature of sexual passion and spiritual openness. Sexual attraction is based on sexual polarity, which is a force of passion that acts between masculine and feminine poles. All natural forces flow between two poles. The north and south poles of the earth create a force of magnetism. The positive and negative poles of your electrical outlet or car battery create an electrical flow. In the same way, masculine and feminine poles between people create the flow of sexual feeling. This is sexual polarity. This force of attraction which flows between the two different poles of masculine and feminine is the dynamism that often disappears in modern relationships. If you want real passion, you need a ravisher and a ravishee. Otherwise, you just have two buddies who decide to rub genitals in bed. Each of us, man and woman, possesses both inner masculine and inner feminine qualities. Men can wear earrings, tenderly hug each other, and dance ecstatically in the woods. Women can change the oil in the car and take out the garbage bin, accumulate political and financial power, and box in the ring. Men can take care of their children. Women can fight for their country. We have proven these things. Just about anyone can animate either masculine or feminine energy in any particular moment, although they still might have a strong preference to do one or the other, which we will get into in a moment. Okay, and there is more to follow. And of note, this book is written specifically for people who have a more masculine sexual essence and the lovers who will have a more feminine sexual essence, since you always attract your sexual reciprocal. These people can't help but be attracted into relationships based on difference for better or for worse. Your sexual essence is your sexual core. If you have a more masculine sexual essence, you would, of course, enjoy staying home and playing with the kids. But deep down, you are driven by a sense of mission. You may not know your mission, but unless you discover this deep purpose and live it fully, your life will feel empty at its core, even if your intimate relationship and family life are full of love. Okay, enough with the jibber jabber. Let's get to the book.